union that takes a keen interest in politics. We have to. Those are our bosses. We have been involved in the debate about how to raise revenue for Illinois without hurting the common people, with finding revenue streams that will put money there for education, for health care. Our union is a very powerful political force. I think you just saw that in Chicago. And we play a role in the state trying to figure out how to raise the revenue stream so that ordinary working people in Illinois can get the services they deserve, and so that workers like her aren't sped up because they're not filling the vacancies because there's no money. Hello, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I would like to attest to how hard people like Deborah work. My aunt has the same position as Deborah, and she has missed countless track meets of mine and my graduation ceremony because she's had to work. And I also know that she's struggling to pay for her apartment now because of the lack of compensation for how hard she works.
Wow. Well, I think we're getting the idea here that unions are needed by all kinds of workers, including the folks who run our human services as professionals, right? Now, what happened? Something bad happened, though. On the way to becoming a union worker, something bad happened, and I feel very badly. We all do.
Oh, this is a sad story,
yeah,
but it's going to have you will see it's going to have a good ending.
Okay,
you watch.
Okay.
Actually, it was really neat because, like I said, SEIU empowered us.
Right.
They said, we're going to give you guys the tools. Let's go for it.
Right.
A friend of mine and I picked up the phone. We knew a couple, of our colleagues in Cook County because that's where we're from. And we said, look, we're organizing a union. We met with these people. They're fantastic. You got to meet with us. We got to get cards signed.
Right.
Okay, we picked up the phone. People we did not even know downstate, and this is just starting with the DCFS piece because that's how it started. Colleagues I don't even know.
Yeah.
Looked them up in the directory. Before I even got through 3 sentences, they're like, we're on board. What do I need to do? We're on board.
Yeah.
We managed to get enough cards between, I would say, mid-June and the end of August to go ahead and file a petition. We filed a petition with the Labor Relations Board on September 16th. What was phenomenal about this is we did more in 2.5 months than other people have ever done in the last 6 years for us.
Right.
And when we filed the petition, it was a majority interest petition on September 16th.
Right.
We had the majority of people at DCFS, because at that time the petition was only for DCFS. And at that point, we could have been certified and did not need to go to an election.
Right.
However, the union that represents our employees, I don't know
the
if
people you supervise.
Right.
No, it's called AFSCME.
Okay.
American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Workers. I have been, I discussed this with SEIU folks, and it's the name of the union.
Okay. AFSCME intervened with the petition and probably had to turn in 30 cards.
Really?
Okay.
Just to get in the door.
To intervene.
Yeah.
And stall the petition.
Oh.
Okay, so here we are with 300 and something cards. Here they are with 30 cards, whatever the, percentages that they need. And boom, we came to a halt. Now we have to go through the labor board hearings
to determine
and the judge.
What to do, right?
Exactly. So to fast forward the story, we kept on collecting cards not only from DCFS, but we also realized at that point, because CMS and DCFS said, we're not objecting to public service administrators at DCFS organizing.
Right.
We're saying that you are in option 6, so you have to organize all
the option
sixes.
sixes.
Okay. So now we're looking at, over 900 people with the departments that I named before, aging and public health and DHS and guardianship and advocacy commission. So we're like, fine. They're in the same boat we are.
Probably
we're not going to have
response.
We're not going to have a problem.
Right.
So, again, we picked up the phone, started calling people we did not even know, and again, we found that before we even said 3 sentences, they're like, where can I meet with you?
Yes.
Where can I call you tonight? We're on board.
That's great.
So now we've got a petition pending for all public service administrator option 6s in the state.
Right.
In the meantime, SEIU joined forces with the Illinois State Employees Association to go ahead and start organizing the other public service administrator 1s, 2s, 3s, and so on. Okay, and those are different categories of people, in terms of their specialty. So to fast forward, we are now in April. and we've got our cards. We're still doing outreach. We're talking to DHS and the other agencies. And around the third week of April, CMS, SEIU, AFSCME met. And they decided and signed a stipulation that they were going to go ahead and go to an election.
And let the workers decide which union.
And let us decide.
Right.
No union, SEIU, AFSCME.
Sounds
democratic.
That
sounds
sorta.
democratic to me. It sounds fair.
Right.
We were extremely confident that we would have won.
Sure.
I mean, just judging by the outpouring of people, and quite frankly, we had also decided that SEIU was the kind of union we wanted.
Right.
We did not want a union like the other union. Everybody goes ahead and signs this stipulation, and I happened to see this with my own two eyes, but there was this petition that was filed on April 23rd, a couple days later. It was written at the top, walk-in, so obviously somebody from AFSCME ran over there with that petition and said, wait a minute, we don't need to go to an election because we've already represented you since they created the title of Public Service Administrator.
How would that be?
That's what we wanted to know. How could it possibly be the situation?
Right.
Wait a minute, we're sitting here. Why were you collecting cards and why were you out there doing all this if you already represented us? And where's my money?
And where's my contract? Where's my meeting?
And where's my money plus interest for the last X number of years
that you've been getting the other guys? Yeah.
So we were just flabbergasted. We're like, wait a minute, so you're stipulating to go to an election on a Thursday or Friday, and the following Monday you walk into the labor board and you
say you
change your mind. Yeah. So now we're at a situation where the administrative law judge had to hear briefs.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if one took a look at the brief filed by AFSCME, that maintains that they are the only entity that can possibly represent public service administrators, option 6 in the human services category. The brief prepared by CMS looked like somebody did a group project in college or high school. And we're like, oh, my God, all this time. We could have had a contract already
DCFS.
done.
Right.
Okay, since last year. And it was very disconcerting.
And the claim they base it on is hang with this, because what's at stake here is the right of workers to choose the union they want to belong to. They have a right to look at the track record of all the different unions and to pick by majority which one they want to make their home, the one they have the most confidence in. So that's what these folks were about to do. And how did they thwart you? They said what?
They pulled some, based on some executive order from 1973 that predates the labor legislation, saying that
yes, in 1985, the legislature allowed public servants to organize in this state. That's when it began. That's when SEIU 73 was born, so to speak. Okay.
Right, exactly. And they pulled out an executive order from 1973 that said something related to you can only have one union representing a kind of people. And it's like, well...
And this is before union rights were given out in the state.
So usually legislation such as the Labor Relations Act supersedes any kind of executive order.
Yes.
And so it was very, very, very disconcerting and very disturbing because it has greater implications.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we've been talking about is that, we suspect that AFSCME may have collected enough cards at one point from public service administrators, but never filed them.
No,
but certainly
that's their problem.
But they certainly let management know during their negotiations that they had a stack.
Oh, and they were saying, give us a good contract. And
I don't know what they said, but
we don't know.
You know what? If we play devil's advocate,
we don't know.
And we could certainly...
What we know is they never organized you.
They never did. Now, if this ruling is held up, because SEIU is going to appeal.
Oh, sure.
On our behalf, if the ruling is held up, that means that we are bound to AFSCME.
Like indentured servants or something.
And AFSCME would have the choice of not organizing us, not doing anything, not moving on a petition, or not moving on any kind of contract negotiations. If they wanted to hold us in limbo for the next 5 years, they could do it. And that's what is the scariest thing here.
Yeah, after all this energy and this desire, and you guys are together. I've seen your newsletter. Everybody's participating.
It is
amazing.
It has been a phenomenal experience because, the state of Illinois is huge. And we're spread out all over.
Yeah.
And it's a delight from Cook County to hear the beautiful Southern accents on our weekly conference calls and talking about how we're going to strategize and plan. A phenomenal group of people. And here we are. Every one of us had that same commonality. Working long hours, working overtime, being on call.
Paying out of pockets.
Right. I deal with a lot of emergencies. I've had clients become violent while I'm in their home, and yet I don't have a cell phone. I have to use my own personal cell phone to call for help.
Let's take this call real quick. Hello,
Sure.
You're on the air. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I just wanted to say congratulations and keep moving forward. I'm a former member of the Newspaper Guild, the one that represents Chicago Sun-Times employees.
Right.
And I think what you're trying to accomplish is terrific. And I just wanted to know, what is your next move in Springfield? What are your representatives doing downstate to persuade legislators to work with you on this?
We have 1 minute.
Okay, real quickly, we're going to be hopefully giving some signed letters to the governor on June 20th, showing him that these are signed letters from people saying we want a choice and this ruling cannot stand. And we're also reaching out to legislators and
we're hoping that the governor will rescind this ancient order. Right,
exactly.
Pre-Columbian order that he found in the Smithsonian or something, and adhere to the real laws of the state.
Yes, and I do know that we're running out of time. And before we do, I would just like to say, on behalf of the organizing committee, we cannot thank SEIU enough for what it has done in terms of manpower and woman power, funding, resources, moral support.
We got to go. But you know what? We are not
Thank
done.
you.
We are not done with Deborah because we're going to follow this story because this story is relevant to every worker who's trying to organize a union in Illinois and in the United States. We'll catch up with you later. Good night, everybody.